Hello and welcome to the Temple of Nuit astrological forecast for the Taurus full moon happening here, Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time on Saturday, the 16th of November at 8:28 a.m. in the morning. My name is Yvonne Wildheart and I'm recording this on the 14th of November 2024 on Jurajura Wurrung Country in Central Highlands, Victoria, Australia, in the Southern Hemisphere. I hope that you're doing well. There is so much going on in and around this full moon. So I think we should get started. Probably the biggest news would be, Pluto moving into Aquarius. It has been in Capricorn since 2028 and digging up all the deep things that have been hidden underneath the surface in the Capricorn areas of your chart. If you look back to 2028 and see where you are now, there has been so much change. There has been so much being brought up for you to work through, lots of plutonic content, and Pluto is like that Plutonian, the deep riches, the things that lay deep under the surface, the underworld. Pluto is Hades. It is represented by Hades, who is the Lord and the underworld, who is here to show us what we need to bring up, to go in, to look at, to transform, transmute, to change, so we become out the other end different but better. It's all about that death and letting go and renewal. So, for example, if you have Capricorn in your seventh house and you're a Cancer rising, it would have been your relationships that would have had a big overhaul, one-on-one relationships. If it was in your 10th house, if you're an Aries rising, it would have been your career, how you put yourself, your sense of purpose and what you're here to do. Things have changed since 2008. And of course, we know that, there's so much that's happening during this time. For example, the biggest thing, of course, we had COVID, we had lockdown, like our views have changed of the world since then. And that has all been Pluto and Capricorn work. But we are starting a new era, this Pluto moving into Aquarius, which happens after the full moon. But it's very front and center because now Pluto is moving forward. It's going into Aquarius on the 20th of, this is Australian Eastern Standard Time, Daylight Savings Time, my apologies, which is happening on the 20th. So this is it. This is the final few days of Pluto in Capricorn. I highly suggest, invite you to build an altar, write notes, do journal. What has Pluto journey in Capricorn been for you? What has changed? What events happened to you as from 2028 up until now, that, not 28, to 2008, that has been brought up for you to see, to transmute, transform, to let die, to rebirth, which is all Pluto's work. Hades, the Lord of the underworld, who, in my experience with the underworld, having done a Nana's journey, it's one of the courses that I run is a Nana's journey, which is all about going down to the dark goddess, down to Eurishka girls, cavern, down deep, deep below. But to get there, you have to let go of the things that no longer serve you. You can't enter the place of death and rebirth still hanging on. And isn't that right for our life cycle? Like death, you can't bring your body with you. You can't bring this life with you into the new version of you. You have to let go. Yes, you can take the lessons from that and the gifts and the gold, but you cannot bring the shit with you. It has to stay here in that realm. So for Pluto and Capricorn journey, whatever Capricorn is for you and whatever areas of your chart, that has gone through a massive overhaul, and now you're standing on the edge of something new. Moving Pluto going into Aquarius will bring us another level of, area to be transformed and transmuted into death and rebirth for Aquarius. But for the Capricorn areas you chart, this is a great time over this full moon to review, revise, remember, see how far you've come, see how different things are, have a think about your new lens of what you've taken on. The world is different now. Like, of course it's different. We've had so much happening in Capricorn area, Capricorn Pluto areas. Capricorn is fixed. It's an earth sign. It's all about that cardinal earth planting new seeds. But what can't you take into this new seedings? What needs to let go? It really feels like that top-down structures that need to topple down to start something new on this earth, new timelines, new earth. This is it. We couldn't take the things with us into the new earth, Capricorn, cardinal earth. And we're moving into something new, very futuristic. Aquarius is all about the future. It's the collective future. It's ruled by Uranus and Saturn. It's like, well, what do we know now to take into something, to change the world, the revolution, the building new structures or making them more stable in the fixed air sense, in what I feel is the field, that fixed air, the Aquarius energy, that really, collective consciousness. But we needed to go through that transformation to move into something new, into Aquarius. So it's all meant to be. It's all divinely planned, the way the planets move, and it just feels remembering your galactic citizenship. I feel that that's what Aquarius and Pluto and Aquarius will bring online for us, is to remembering who we really are in the galactic sense. So it begins, and we're already starting to feel it as that Pluto gets closer and closer. Uh, so let's have a look at the full moon chart. So that is one of the many things that are happening in and around this full moon. Just before this full moon, so I can see here, so the full moon is happening at 24 degrees here in Taurus. Taurus is all about fixed earth. It's ruled by the bull, Venus. It's the feet on the ground. It's the work. You're here to work, to grow the grain, to attend the soil, to attend to earth. And what values do you have? What are the simple beauties of life? Just feeling that here we're in like high spring. We've just had Beltane here in the Southern Hemisphere. That feeling, the strawberry freshly picked from your garden because you've planted it, you've worked it, you've attended it, and now you can reap the rewards of this beautiful strawberry with the juices running down your face. How delightful that feels, very Taurian, but it took work to get there. It was connecting to the earth. It's here, it's grounded, and it's here to do some work. However, with this full moon, it's conjunct Uranus here at 25 degrees. Uranus is change. It's sudden changes. It's earthquakes in Taurus. It's things that rock us that we weren't quite ready for, perhaps that come out of the blue, but it's happening anyway. It's revolution. And without change, everything just becomes stagnant, especially in Taurus, especially in fixed earth. So this full moon is changing, it's shifting, it's chaotic energy. Things are, we don't really know what it's going to look like on the other side. And this is very much true. Exactly what I was speaking to you about this Pluto over here in Capricorn, at this last degrees of Capricorn here, 29 degrees and 55 minutes, about to move into Aquarius. Like, this is it. Like, this is what we and now looking at, what does the world look like after this full moon, after Pluto moves into Aquarius? It's something that we're not sure of. It's coming from the future. It's that feeling of, wow, what even is this sort of energy? But in the full illumination, full moons is, the sun opposite, which is in Scorpio at the fixed water, shining its light onto the moon to be fully illuminated. But with Uranus here, it just feels like this big shake up under in this full illumination. So we get to see it and we get to experience it. And with Taurus, we get to feel it, rumbling through our earth bodies. it's very destabilizing, this full moon. And it's, especially as I said, with Pluto moving into Aquarius for the, really this is it for the next 20 years. Like, goodbye Capricorn, hello Aquarius. Things are not stable here. Things are up in the air. Things are, they're moving, but we're not even sure which direction we're moving in. And I've spoken to many people over the last, month or so, and the feeling that is sort of in the collective that I can gauge is that what is going to be 2025? Like, I can't, and those around me, we can't even see what's coming. Like, this time last year and the years before, I would already have workshops lined up and things happening for 24, 25, but I got nothing because I can't even sense it. I can't even feel it. So I think over the next, once this uh, lunar cycle has finished, coming into that Sagittarius new moon, which will happen in the first week of December and into towards Christmas, there are so many swaps and changes happening. We've got retrogrades. Will have Mars going retrograde the first week of December. We've got Mercury that is so close to stationing retrograde, which will happen on, I have the notes here. On the Tuesday, the 26th of November, it will station retrograde at 22 degrees Sagittarius. So Mercury's slowing down. Like, there's a thing about here is like we don't know all the information yet. And so if you're planning things, if you're, picking out dates for activities and events, just maybe hold off on that right now because everything is up in the air. And with the retrogrades about to happen with Mars and Mercury and this Uranus right on this full moon and full illumination of the change, and Pluto moving into Capricorn, everything is just up in the air. So, and I think also with this Mercury retrograde energy, we can't plan things. We don't know all the information. Mercury, it moves things here and there. It's how we move, especially in Sagittarius, the archer, the mutable fire, how we move, how we transport. There's something around here that, you know, our ability to move might be needing to be reviewed, or how we do that, how we move through our daily life, or how the collective, because Sagittarius is a collective sign, how we go and travel feels like a big thing as well, given that Mercury is associated with travel and movement. Mercury is also the messenger to the underworld. It takes souls down to Pluto's realms to be transformed, to re-be birthed and bring them back again. So with Pluto moving, I mean, with Mercury going into retrograde, there's something here too about needing to just have that final movement, final look at what has Pluto's work been in Capricorn, and knowing that there's a death here, and we can't take it with us, and there's a rebirth happening once Mercury stations direct, which will be on the 16th of December, right before Christmas. Yeah, and Christmas, I know that's a little ways off, but Christmas, we've got another Jupiter and Saturn square, which will be the second one as well. So right on Christmas Eve. So that's it's a big couple of months, and actually it's a big couple of years because, and I've said this in many a podcast, and I spoke a lot about this with the Temple of Nuit Patreon group, that the next 2 years is massive changes. And I feel that this is the final bit that we just need to let go of what we thought the world looked like, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3, 4 years ago. Remember COVID? Like, our world and our worldview has shifted dramatically. And whatever we're hanging on to from those old paradigms, to make it easier for yourself. And I think this is what this full moon is telling us, that with Uranus here is let go. let go. And one of the things that have been arising for me at the moment, and I'm hearing it a lot reflected back too, is the Hopi prophecy. And so if you don't know that, have a listen to the Hopi prophecy, which is the we are the ones that we've been waiting for. So have a read of that. That's a really, I think, it really feels like that we're in it now. We're in that prophecy, deep in it now. And it's like, are you hanging on to the old structures and the old ways of being? Or are you letting go and going into the center of this river of new consciousness and flowing with it? And if you are, have a look who's around you, who's here with you, because they're your people. They're your people. Those who are still clinging onto the edge, you with especially with Uranus and Taurus here under this full moon, like if you're fixed Earth and you're hanging on to structures that you thought were safe, that you thought were stable, how well you let go of that concept will be how easeful this moment, these couple of years will be for you. Yeah, that feels really a thing. Really a thing. And you see it. You see people who are still hanging on to the ways of the old structures that are now clearly dismantling, clearly toppling over. That's the tower card. This full moon is the tower card. It is that, wow, look at this full illumination of the earth, fixed earth being shaken up by this Uranus, the tower, and how well you step back and let the tower fall and just go, right, once that's fallen, we can create something new. And what will be that something new? Knowing that, it's that Pluto moving into Aquarius, how connected are you to the field of consciousness? Remembering that all your thoughts are things, like how close the veils are right now for us to manifest what we want. And I feel that this is also this is the rebirth of Pluto in Capricorn. Being Capricorn is cardinal earth, those seeds that, we've collected from our journey through the underworld. We now will get to plant and to know that our words are spells, like really they are. And if you know that. And if you're just coming into this work and remembering who you really are and how powerful you really are, remember that we've been in the veil of the patriarchy who wanted us to stay small and control us, keep us in a very low density frequency so we forget who we fucking really are. We're waking up. We're waking up to realize actually we are powerful creative beings. That is our essence. And it's okay to be happy and joyful and to want abundance to be flowing through us all. The scarcity consciousness is a patriarchal consciousness. It's designed that way. So we work. So we work for the hierarchy, for those at the top. This is what's dismantling. This whole concept of how we work and how we live in the world is falling apart. And we're moving into a more collective consciousness, collective way of being, community. And this is what Pluto's work will be in Aquarius, is like, how do we do community? And all the things that are holding us back from remembering who we really are and the collective, our place in the world as a collective, our place in community, how we work as community. And as I'm saying this, I'm just seeing the ants and how they work together in community, bees, how they work together, that mind hive. As they say in the Hopi prophecy, the time of the lone wolf is over. It's done. And the quicker and our ability to step back and to allow the old structures of the lone wolf, of that, where competition and, I must grab and I must have this and because I've got to, so it feels like that survival mode, that hungering for survival. The moment we can let that go and step in to say, well, what are we going to do as a community? This person is not traveling well. What do we need to do to support that person? Where, because we know in Aquarius, this is a part of that Saturn, who is now a different type of Saturn to the Saturn in Capricorn. It's a Saturn of that building structures for the collective, building structures for the future, as opposed to the foundations, which is Saturn in Aquarius, but I mean in the Capricorn, but it's also because of how we've been throughout this age of the patriarchy. It's been like that. The structures have looked like whoever's up the top of the structure wins, which is not going to work in this new world, this new age of Aquarius, I suppose. So yeah, big changes. Just before this full moon, coming back to the chart, what you have down here, Saturn. Speaking of Saturn, stationing direct. Saturn has been in retrograde since, and I'm just looking at my notes here. Station direct has been in retrograde since June 30th of June, so just after winter solstice here in the southern hemisphere and southern northern hemisphere, it was summer solstice. And that stationed retrograde at 19 degrees and 25 minutes. It will continue to be in its shadow zone until the 24th of March. I mean, the 16th of February, 2025. So it went into its shadow zone on the 24th of March, 24, and will be crossing over again that 19 degrees and 25 minutes point in Pisces on the 16th of February. So this energy, whatever's been brought up since, I would say, March, and think about the 25th, 24th of March, what was happening in 24th of March, 24, we had those massive eclipses that really shook the world. Like, so much has happened since then, since those, and especially that Aries new moon eclipse that happened in April. It was massive. We even had that Jupiter and Uranus conjunction just after that. That eclipse was conjunct Chiron. There was so much happening and being brought up that really felt like the shift of, okay, what is it again? Pisces is mutable water. It is, dispersing energy. It's where things get dissolved, and Saturn here in Pisces, Saturn is the lord of time too. It is the elder. And I see Pisces, Saturn in Pisces is that timeline, like timeline shifts, timelines being dissolved, new timelines opening up, new structures coming through of that timeline forming. But we can't quite see it, but you could feel it. And being a water sign, also the sun being in Scorpio as well, a water sign. There's an energy here of feeling things. Can't see things just yet, especially with Uranus, full moon in Taurus, like what we could see, or the Earth fixed structures that are now shaking. Like, we can't even see them, but we can sense them. And just also thinking that Taurus is ruled by the nose and the ear. Like, there's sensory things. Like, Taurus is very a sensory sign of smell and touch and taste. And I love Taurian. They love simple foods, and good food is really important to a Taurian. And but that's our senses have been shaken up too, but it's that can we trust also the dissolving that is happening? Can we trust, what is happening so we can let go? And this is a part of that going with the flow and not gripping on to what we thought was a sure thing, because nothing is sure and won't be sure for a few years. So it just feels like what's happening is that culmination of that Pluto finishing up in Capricorn, seeing the lessons of it, letting go of what we thought, and being very mindful of the field of consciousness of the collective. And what are you thinking? What are you saying? What are you doing? Do you know your garden? Do you know your water? Look who's around you. Know your community, because this is the new way of being things. And I've just pulled a card for this full moon. I don't usually do this, but I did feel the call to do it today for us all. This is from the Star Tarot deck, and I'm just looking at this. This is the Five of Cups, and looking at what's spilt. And I feel like this is exactly what we've been speaking of. What are you paying your attention to? Are you paying the attention to the things that are lost and been spilt over, that was held in the vessel that could look like a sure thing and now that's spilling out? Or are we looking at what's coming, like the rainbows and the butterflies? Where are you paying your attention to? And I feel how brilliant. And the card underneath the deck, when I pulled it, was the Queen of Wands. I always see the cards that are sitting underneath as the hidden, who is the hidden lordship, or the hidden player in all of this. And it's the Queen of Wands. She's the queen of fire, creating her world. And look at her, she's friggin' brilliant. Creative, feminine power in fire. So it's all happening. Let go of the edge, go into the middle, knowing that your thoughts create your world, knowing what you're doing creates the world. And what are you doing? What are you remembering? Who is around you? Pay attention. One of the big things that we've just come off back off the Wild Earth Magic Wilderness immersion that was in October, and still very, very fresh in that. And also coming out of the underworld with the Tuanana journeys that we're doing at the moment, and just feeling this sense of how close the veils are, or how open we are to the realms of creativity, knowing that our words are actually spells, our actions are spells. And how are you doing it? Are you in right relationships? Are you being nice to the person on the phone that, you're calling up to change your phone bill? Can you bless people? Because it's all comes back to you. It all is reflected back to you. I had a brilliant, beautiful phone call. I was through an insurance company, and I didn't know this bloke. I never do, you never do. And the simple thing of just saying, thank you so much for your work. I really appreciate it. I see you. Have a blessings on your day. And that beautiful gentleman said, "Oh my goodness, you've just made my day. You've made me so happy." And I was like, wow. And I just kept on blessing him, and he kept on blessing me like a complete stranger. And I could feel this opening up to another frequency dimension. Like we just kept on blessing and love and joy, and it just felt so delicious. That is, if we choose, where we're going to. Saturn, the Lord of Time in Pisces, now going direct under this full moon of chaotic change. And what are you doing? What are you saying? Who are you with? These are the times to know this stuff. Really important. And, after the back of this full moon, with Mercury going into retrograde and then Mars going into retrograde, there's a time of great review and revision and relaxing and being with and just stopping for a moment, because the whole chaotic energy needs to settle somewhere. And It feels like the retrogrades will, if we're not doing it, if we're not paying attention, and that's one of the another messages came out from the Wild Earth Magic Wilderness Solo was pay attention, really pay attention, because if you're paying attention and you're listening to the call to slow down and you're not doing it, the universe will manifest something to make you do it, whether it be through injury or whether through, circumstances beyond your control will make you stop. So wouldn't it be nicer and much more gentler that we adhere to that and we feel if we're feeling the need to rest, rest. If we're feeling the need to just it feels like that regeneration. And what do you need, what does things need to do when they need to regenerate and remember and revise and, just that relaxation. Just any of the RE words are important during retrogrades. So all up, this full moon and in and around this full moon is a time to take stock, is the time to let go of the grips of what has changed and what is changing and what can't come with us. Give great thanks to the things that are falling away and come in and find your own center and just be. Just be and let everything fall down around you, because in the end, it's going to be for our highest good anyway. But the more that we can bring ourselves into our own center and to trust the process unfolding, knowing it's for our higher good, and it's only the human concepts that grip onto things that make it difficult. If you go out to the planets, if you go out to outer space, it's only the density that that makes us in this space. But when you go out there, cosmically, there's so much, everything dissolves. It's cosmic love, it's that lightness that comes from it. And the more easily that we can do that, we're going to be so much happier and we're going to be more mindful of what we're actually calling into this movement. And also, just another thing, we've got Venus here in the nodal bendings. Venus at the ascendant of in Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Venus is rising, the feminine is rising, and she's in a space of in between. The nodal bendings are square. She's square to the north node and the south node. And that is time bendings, time letting go of the past, calling in from the future, and everything can be a bit skew with and that's a part of that chaotic energy. But it's that really, again, all the signs pointing to letting go of the old, taking the lessons and bringing in something new. And you have, what lens are you looking through the future? Through the beauty lens, through the lens of value. What are your values? What is love? And how lovely that Venus is coming in on the other side of Pluto. As Pluto moves out, Venus is sweeping into Capricorn and just filling it with love and beauty and deliciousness. So that will help with this transition of saying goodbye to Pluto and Capricorn. And thank you. What a great journey it has been on, Pluto and Capricorn. I honor you. What amazing lessons. They've been friggin' hard. Like, oh God, that was really tricky, especially for those who have cardinal planets in cardinal signs of Libra, Capricorn, Aries, and Cancer. Well done, you guys. That's amazing. For those in fixed signs, you've got planets in fixed signs. So Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio. We're all in this collective together and it will be okay. And, we can hold each other now. It feels like with Pluto moving into Aquarius, it might look messy to begin with because we're remembering who we are and who we are in a community and remembering community. But the thing is, we're doing it in community now. We're not doing it on our own anymore. So we're all here together. Hmm. Thank you for listening. I would love if you're feeling called to share, what are the main keywords for Pluto and Capricorn for you? What are you seeing at this Taurus full moon conjunct Uranus? And what are you going to do in the retrogrades? What are you going to do during Mercury retrograde and Mars retrograde? Sending you all so much love, and we'll see you in the next new moon, as the Sagittarius new moon. Before we finish up, I just wanted to give a big shout out to the Temple of Nuit Patreon members. How amazing! Thank you for your support, and there'll be worksheets for December and our December circle coming out at the end of November. Also, we will be beginning the next Invoking Anana journey in January. Whoop. So the ones since we've been journeying this time around from August to now have been so epic. We've changed it around. We're more working with the collective energy. We've been working with the witch wound. We've been working with the mother wound. It's been so friggin' powerful, and I can feel it in the field and see evidence of it around me of the work that we've been doing. And soon, just a little sneaky peek, that the dear Natasha Colchester and myself will be launching a new podcast. So stay tuned for that, all about the healing and magical arts. I'm so looking forward to that. It's going to be so much fun. And I will post on my Instagram page, Yvonne Wildheart on Instagram. That's where you can mostly find me. My website's a bit old dodgy, but you can have a look at that. But if you want to know more about me, go over to Instagram at Yvonne Wildheart. That's where you can find me, and you can book in for astrological readings. I'm going to be offering a epic 12-month astrological reading for 2025 with a report for those who are interested to know where these major transits are happening in your areas of your life and what that looks like. Also, I'm still doing one-on-one holistic counseling and space holding and mentoringship for those who are wanting to hold space and do circles and do this work. I am available for mentoring as well. So thank you for listening if you got this far. Happy Taurus full moon. May it be gentle. May you open up yourself to the universe. Remember to lie on the earth, connect back into who you are, and remember that you are an incredible being here on a divine mission, and you are remembering who you are, really becoming a galactic citizen. Welcome. So much love, and take care out there. Bye for now.